Saint Catherine of Siena, mystic, peacemaker, and firebrand of God. This reflection is prepared by Father Abe Francis, pastor at St. Jude Church, Grand Rapids, Michigan, USA. Birth and early life. Saint Catherine of Siena was born on March 25, 1347, in Siena, Italy, during a time of great political turmoil, widespread plague, and upheaval in both the church and society. She was the 23rd of 25 children born to Jacopo and Lapa Benincasa, a modest but prosperous family. From an early age, Catherine demonstrated an intense spiritual sensitivity. At the age of 6, she experienced her first mystical vision of Christ seated in glory, which inspired her to dedicate herself completely to God. Religious life and entry into the Dominican order. At the age of 16, Catherine became a member of the Third Order of St. Dominic op., the Order of Preachers, allowing her to live a life of prayer, penance, and service while remaining at home. She devoted herself to a hidden life of asceticism and contemplation, but was eventually called by God to enter public life to serve the Church and the world. Public mission and influence. Catherine's influence grew rapidly because of her remarkable spiritual gifts, wisdom, and powerful personality. Though she was a young laywoman with no formal education, she became a counselor to popes, bishops, kings, and common people alike. Catherine tirelessly worked for peace among the warring cities of Italy, urging repentance, reform, and unity. Her role in bringing the Pope back to Rome. One of her most extraordinary achievements was her role in bringing Pope Gregory XI back to Rome from Avignon, France, where the papacy had been based for nearly 70 years. Catherine saw that the Pope's absence from Rome weakened the Church's spiritual and political authority. Through her letters, personal audiences, and fervent persuasion, she convinced the hesitant Pope to return to Italy in 1377, restoring the papacy to Rome. This act required immense courage, insight, and sanctity. Her dialogue and writings, despite her lack of formal schooling, Catherine dictated through secretaries an important body of writings, the most famous being the Dialogue of Divine Providence, a spiritual treatise recording her mystical conversations with God. It offers profound reflections on God's love, providence, and the call to holiness. Her numerous letters and prayers also display her deep theological insight and vibrant spirituality. Her death, after a life of intense prayer, penance, and service. Catherine died in Rome on April 29, 1380, at the age of 33, the same age as Christ at his death. She died exhausted from her efforts to serve both the Church and her neighbor. Canonization and Doctor of the Church. Catherine was canonized by Pope Pius II in 1461. In 1970, Pope Paul VI proclaimed her a Doctor of the Church, making her one of the first women, along with Saint Teresa of Avila, to receive this high honor. Recognizing the depth legacy, Catherine of Siena remains a towering figure in Catholic history, a model of courage, mystical union with God, and unwavering devotion to the Church. She is a patroness of Italy and Europe and an inspiration to all who seek to unite contemplative prayer with active service. Lessons from the life of Saint Catherine of Siena. Deep union with God empowers mission. Catherine shows that mystical prayer is not an escape from the world, but the very source of strength for transforming it. Lay people have a vital role. Catherine, though not a nun or ordained, influenced the highest authorities in church and state, demonstrating the power of lay holiness. Speak the truth with love and courage. She challenged even popes and rulers with respect, honesty, and a burning love for truth and the Church. Holiness is accessible. Catherine reminds us that profound union with God is not reserved for scholars or clergy but is open to all who surrender themselves to God's will. Action and contemplation must be united. She combined deep prayer with dynamic action, illustrating that Christian life must breathe with both lungs, contemplation and mission. Reflection question: how is God calling you, in your prayer life and actions, to build up the Church and bring others closer to Him, as Saint Catherine of Siena did?